Yeah, excitable boy. And that was Warren Zevon. And you have joined myself, Grammy Mary, and Flash the Dork over here on the Dork Table on RLM. Hi there, ho there, everybody, and happy Saturday to you. Hey there, Flasher Rooney.
Hey, Mary, what's up?
Oh, not a whole heck of a lot. Okay, you want to say something again real quick? That way I can check my levels and make sure.
Four score 7 years ago, our
Okay.
forefathers had the
Okay.
fucking biggest laugh of their entire lives at our expense.
Okay. I
That
had.
seemed to sort it out.
Oh, it did? Okay.
I don't hear me going, hey, man, like, like a New York echo.
Ah. Okay. Well, I'm turning my volume up just a skosh so I can get you. Oh, let me do Sam's as well. Because I don't know why the volume went so low. Okay,
That
now
was me.
there you go. Yay! I got the volume set good,
Yay.
or I hope I do.
Oh, somebody's going to do this eventually.
Yeah, and it's going into the red a little bit, but hey, it's okay. It's okay. So, what be happening on this dorkish Saturday? We're gonna have to come up with something else, because that just don't roll right.
It don't? Well, it's not supposed to either.
Well, that's true.
Because if you're here to be popular and right and well cherished and adored by the masses, go home.
No, I'm not.
That ain't going to happen. And if it does happen and people really adore you and all that, then you're full of shit.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Seems to be the way it really works, doesn't it?
You're either full of shit or really full of yourself, but you're full of something. Full
Well,
of.
I can hardly wait for November the 5th.
I'm getting really. Oh God, and yeah, November the 5th, and I, I had to go get my mugshot taken yesterday.
Alcohol sales are going to triple on the 3rd.
Probably, probably.
So invest heavily into Budweiser and what's that? Ripple.
Oh,
There's going to be winos out on the street begging for a bottle of Ripple and a shot of Scope.
oh, yummy. Scope, huh? Ugh.
That stuff will fuck you up.
I'm sure it will.
And I volunteer you.
Thanks.
never, never mind. But you'd need four of those after I dreamed up this drink, and I very rarely find anybody willing to try it. It's 151 and prune juice.
Yo,
Yeah.
that.
Never did come up with a name for it, but once you explain it, people just generally don't want to. No, I'll pass on that one. Thanks.
151 and prune juice. So that's, and if you add a little bit of carbonation to it, it's like 151 and
Wow.
Dr. Pepper.
Hey, things could get interesting, I suppose. Hmm. What I've got on my mind this week is this addiction and obsession that free people seem to have for authority. I find authority appalling, abusive, intrusive, and fucking unattractive. And all my peers, the people I know in the world, they like their chains just exactly how they are. And if anything, they're just not fucking tight enough. They need a little bit tighter. And I'm kind of pissed off about it.
Yeah, it is kind of, and I catch myself occasionally, doing, because yeah, I mean it's ingrained from damn near the moment of conception. Um, you sit there and you listen to all this shit and you go, wow, really? And then you start talking about it, and as you're rebutting it, then you catch yourself and you go, wow, got me too, son of a bitch. I hate when that happens.
Right. Well, it's in everything.
Yeah.
It's real heavy in the movies. You know, my people, I'll tell you what, I may not really want to be one of my people, but I am one of my people. And boy, do I think like one of those fuckers. I mean, you guys, in a financial sense, to look at the world, you're nothing but a bunch of numbers with, the ability to bring them to me. It's sad. I mean, that's what everything seems to be. Finance, commerce and finance. How can I get this? I trade up and buy a better one of these. And wow, what a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah, and it would be wonderful, if we could just have a world where, okay, you know, this one works fine, but I would really like to have the next step up simply because it would work better for what I'm trying to accomplish. So, how about I take the one that I have and take it out to the corner, and I'm sure somebody else will want this one, and then I can go and get this one, and there's absolutely no money that changes hands. But that's just not that's not something that I see in the very near future. It could happen. I mean, people's mindsets are changing. They need to get out of we all need to, not just they. We all need to get out of that mindset of well, in order for me to have something, I'm going to have to do this or this or this. How about in order for you to have something, you just need to exist in a fashion that is not destructive. And then,
Well, no,
if
remember that
everybody.
story, the story you were reading last night on your show about the little kids 6 years old being taught about white privilege and whatnot.
Oh,
That's the
yeah.
whole. Okay. Well, last week we had Becky Haynes on the show, and I made a statement about how I see the transgender shit and all that gay shit, and I said this is how I see it. That's that. And she interjected a further comment, and
I turned my
no,
video off.
oh, okay, I will too. But so I interject anyway. She tried to engage, and I had made it my point before that. I had that opinion. Don't want to talk about it. It's not my business. And for some reason, when you tell somebody else that a topic is taboo to you because it's not my business and I don't know anything about it, don't want to know anything about it, doesn't involve me, they tend to take offense to that because it's got their attention for some reason and they want to pursue it. And well, where do you go with it? Fuck, build another bathroom. Everybody's fucking happy. Remember the bathroom that take your own risk.
Yeah.
Beware. If you enter this door, you could get raped by a unicorn. We don't know. We don't patrol in here. You have fun. But see, society is so conditioned to that authority that they expect shit to go wrong. So because they expect it to go wrong, it goes wrong.
Yeah. And the other night when I was up chit chatting with Lisa B, she and I, when we get together, it's like, oh my God, we go so far afield. We discuss things in the physical world and the metaphysical world. So we really do have a good time. And yeah, oh my God, look at the time kind of thing. And she and I were discussing that, about the bathrooms and we can't have these people doing this and we can't have them doing that. And everybody is so concerned about their little girl being attacked.
Yeah,
And she
yeah.
said, what people don't realize is that little boys don't tell. I mean, why do you think priests have been able to do what they've been doing for years and years and years? Because on average, little boys don't tell. And so how many little boys are also getting attacked? And then when you stop and think about it, it's like this has been going on forever. So right now I'm wondering, is this just a great big brouhaha to distract us from some other bullshit that they're pulling somewhere else?
Come on. Like you don't already know the answer to that
Well,
question.
yeah, I already know the answer to that, but there's an awful lot of people out there that don't. They don't. And I really hadn't thought about that connection until Lisa said something, and it was like, holy crap, I knew that. Acme light bulb moment. Yeah, I knew that. Why in the hell didn't I make the connection? Why didn't I flip that damn switch? But
Well, that's Mary, that's a lot of why society does so well with the male gender split, the male female gender split. and they keep us pitted at each other, they're never going to fix it. It's not designed to be fixed. It's a split for a reason. And then when they went off with the gay thing, and then they broke that off into the transgender thing, they're just subdividing.
Yeah, they're creating more labels.
Exactly. And how, I mean, I don't know how many people in my life that I encounter and physically involve myself in are a threat to me. I don't do that. So all this drama about bathrooms and little girls getting attacked by pedophile guys that dress like women, I don't get it. It's all shit to me, right? But the people that get the most involved in it are probably the most likely never to have it be a problem to them in the first place. They're neither little girls nor are they grown-up pedophile sex changers. So they're just barking at the moon about stupid shit that doesn't matter.
And yet,
Like,
when you
yeah, like
think
Trump's
about
wall.
well, yeah, Trump's wall is a whole other ball of wax. But,
No, it's not. It's the same fucking story
well, yeah,
disguised as something else. And they do this to us. And the few of us that break through and go, that's just a bunch of nonsense, doesn't it's to keep your mind focused on a problem.
well, it's a story, is what it is.
Immigration, okay. What is it? And culture. My parents weren't immigrants; they were settlers. I mean, this is the mindset, the stupidity of what we are. That is a forefront fucking spokesperson for America. And she says that kind of ignorant shit on a constant, regular basis. And people applaud her and give her lots of big zeros at the end of her little checks.
And people also threaten her quite a bit because, but what she's doing is she is being a person out there. And although I do agree with some of the stuff she says, I don't agree with a lot of that she says. But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't listen to her at all. There's a lot of shit that a lot of people say that I go, really? Seriously? That's bullshit. And then they have one little kernel of truth that pops in there. And it's like, holy fuck, that clock was right. Now I got to wait because it's going to happen again. I just know it is because that clock's right twice a day.
Remember that when Hillary's measuring for drapes. Okay?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because no matter what, we all still, even if we don't play, we still go, wow, that would be horrible if that fucker won. Even though it's not true. Even though I know better. It doesn't make any difference if it's Hillary or Donald. Makes no difference at all. Their drug laws are going to affect me in a country that they don't even have any fucking business in, as far as I'm concerned.
And then when you extrapolate it out, it's like, really, why do we even have countries? If you really want to look at it, why do we have those imaginary dotted lines around everything? And I know I'm going to hear I'll get messages, trust me, from people going, oh, but you have to do that. Really? Seriously?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Authority. There's your addiction to authority in a nutshell. You need to be protected from an imaginary enemy that doesn't even exist outside of the confines of your own twisted, fucked up mind. Name one Islamic terrorist that ever came to your house and threatened you. Because I can name the police, the IRS, let's see who else, the FBI. Those people, they just do whatever they like.
Yeah, but none of them have come to my house and threatened me.
Well, Islamic terrorists or cops?
And yet, none of them have come to my house and threatened me.
Oh. Does that mean that they do or they do not exist outside of the confines of somebody's sick, fucked up mind?
Oh, they exist, I'm sure. They just haven't fucked with me.
Okay, if they exist, where? All right, this planet is not that big. I mean, we got fucking cameras and all this technology to track everything with. But then when push comes to shove, all of a sudden, it doesn't work so well.
Yeah.
They told that story on us, right? Well, this is we do this in New York City 24 hours a day, blah, blah. Look at how well it works for you there. But we can't seem to pull this off in the desert. There's too much sand or something.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, the point I'm trying to make is the holes in the story. Okay. And
Uh-huh.
for whatever reason that a person gets pulled towards one side of the argument is the goal. It doesn't matter what side you go to, it matters that you go to a side.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a global game of
Wow.
Red Rover, send so and so right over.
Yeah. Well, Grimner says the Jehovah Witnesses count as terrorists. Mormons.
Actually, yes, they do.
Well, in my book, but not into the religious people. I mean, think about it, right? Here I am. Let's just say I'm not an atheist, but let's just pretend for 2 minutes I'm an atheist, right?
Uh-huh.
And in my coffee, I go out to have coffee, and I meet at somebody else who is a not atheist. Their chances of convincing me they are right are equally as good as my chances of convincing them that I am right. So it's not about right or wrong; it's about the fight.
Yes.
If
Yes.
you can be conditioned to fight about every fucking thing, your opinion, the world is round, the world is flat, the platypus can impregnate an elephant, no, it can't, whatever the fucking comment is, if it takes you to a negative where you're in an argument, that is the wavelength that the world is operating on now that keeps us down.
Yep. Yep.
Keeps you greedy and right. It's this addiction to know I've done my research. So I can find links that will sit you down and tell you how good the Federal Reserve Bank is for you as an American citizen. Now, we all know, if we know anything about money, we know that's a bunch of bullshit, but that doesn't mean the link isn't there.
Yeah.
So which link is that child that's doing research on the Federal Reserve Bank likely going to hit when he hits Google?
The one that says, "We're your friend. We're here for your betterment. We're going to take care of you. If it wasn't for us, the world would be mad."
Right. And the one out of the 10 kids like us that trips over the truth is going to be the joke. You're the one that they mock because there's power in numbers. And it doesn't matter if you're right or not. It matters that you got numbers.
Yeah.
And I've chosen the other road. I don't want to be a part of your fucking numbers. You guys, wow, you're doing everything wrong. And all you have to do to see that that is true is look at the results of what you're doing. It's not good. But I have a better idea. No, you don't. Lee, you would fuck everything up because you don't have a value system. See, that's the argument I get.
Yeah.
My judgments on what's valuable in life do not work socially.
Yeah, but you know what? What's oh, I had something and then I saw what Salvanor typed and it's like my brain went, whew. Okay. I think my thing is there's so many people out there going, "You're wrong, you're wrong. I'm right, I'm right. You're wrong, you're wrong. I'm right, I'm right." And instead of going, "You're wrong and I'm right," how about going, "Wow, okay, that's the way you see it."
Well, anyway, and to answer, yeah, and it is. We always say that. It's your reality. It's whatever you believe it to be. But to answer Salvanar, I don't know. Okay. I know the Twin Towers fell, blah, blah, blah. I know they had 30,000 pages of fucking direction on how the public should behave afterward. So I think it was a big plan. I don't think it had anything to do with terrorists or towel heads. I think it was stuffed suits and bankers and figured out a way to fuck all of us at one time. And I don't follow their lead. They can kiss my ass. And I'll
Yes.
probably end up in a jail cell someday if the wrong guy heard me say that. But so far, so good.
Yeah, well, and I'm sure there are Islamic terrorists out there,
Is there?
simply
Why?
simply
Told
because,
so.
well, okay, they are the definition of a terrorist is someone that does something in a manner to cause you to be fearful and change the way you behave. and they do it for either political or religious reasons. You know, so that is pretty much the in a nutshell the definition of a terrorist.
Yeah.
And when you stop and think about it, all of us, every damn one of us that's calling bullshit on what the government is doing is a terrorist to the government, because we scare the shit out of them, and so they adjust how they do things in order to counter
Keep you
what
in fear.
we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
you know,
because if you ever come out of your fear mode, then you're a threat to the established order.
yeah,
They want you in fear. They want you hanging onto that gun, and we're gonna come take your gun and all this crap. I saw Waco. Okay, I saw that whole, well, whatever there was to see of it, and wow, if that's what fighting, the Americans is all about, I don't want to do it.
yeah,
No part of that. And then I lived with the Marines for 10 years, and those guys, wow, they're the nicest guys in the world, but then they got a job to do.
yeah,
Well, that was the whole point. I have a job to do. Whoa, man. You destroy other people's water supplies, and you leave them in unsanitary conditions, and you make their life a miserable fucking shithole on purpose. This
yeah.
is what these guys do.
Yeah.
This is why they kill themselves. They come back and they go, wow, I can't deal with that.
yeah. And then, yeah,
And they have to deny they ever did anything. They are sworn to secrecy. They do not discuss it with you. So the only conclusion you have to come to at the end is, wow, if this guy won't talk and this is the results of where he went, wow, he must really feel shitty about what he did when he was there.
yeah,
But as a child, I was taught to respect the uniform and praise the military because they're protecting people, when the truth of the whole thing, it's a bunch of bankers playing chess with our lives.
yeah, they are.
And we allow it like a bunch of dumbasses.
Well, and that's that question I heard Mark Passio ask once, and then since then I have heard lots of other people ask it. So which one is the more evil? The one that gives the order or the one that follows it?
Doesn't matter.
Well, yes, it does, because, just
okay.
giving the order, just saying it, just putting it out there, that really has zero effect on anything until someone acts on it.
Okay, but yet Trump can initiate people to become violent based on his political side of a two-headed coin, right?
He can.
Wait.
Okay.
And I'm not saying I hold him responsible for what a third party does any more than the other one. I'm saying that as people, we're trained and groomed and nurtured into this behavior to react a specific way to a specific order that we don't know is a fucking order. And then there's people like me that just, whatever you want me to do, no, I don't want to do it already. Why? Because you want me to do it. They call it paranoia. But if you look at the fucking results, time and again, it tells you to be cautious. Don't stick your dick in the damn, the blender and hit puree. You're going to be sorry. So, there's a warning label on my blender that says don't, not for, never mind.
Yeah, don't put appendages in there. Yeah.
Well, come on. There's just some things in life that to me are so obvious, so blatantly obvious, that if people feel the desire to accost you in the street and search you to see what you're doing, you don't have any rights. You're just a thing for them to fuck with.
Yeah.
And I grew up, but I grew up in this place that was spewing all this nonsense about how I had rights and I was free and all this horse shit. Well, if any of that was ever fucking true, what was all the ID for?
Yeah. And if you have so many rights, why are there all these signs? Don't walk on the grass. You're not allowed to carry weapons here. You're not allowed to have alcoholic beverages here. You're not allowed to do, you can't camp out. You can't. But you have rights.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And see, you know
So
that whole
yeah.
Trumpelstiltskin thing? Everybody's going, he's inciting violence. He's doing this. He's doing that. Okay.
No,
On
he's
one
not.
end, I could see where that is. But on the other end, it's like, really? Seriously? Trumpelstiltskin is opening his mouth. That's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
much,
yeah.
he's saying what an awful lot of people are either afraid to say or a
Mhm.
lot of people are thinking inside their heads anyway. But it doesn't mean shit until someone acts on what he says.
Well,
And then
it does. No, wait, Mary,
they
wait.
can blame him all they want, but if they weren't already inclined in that
Mm,
direction, if
right,
they,
right.
and then they are the ones that took the action. They had a choice. They could either listen to what Trumpelstiltskin is saying and going, fuck, dude, if the wind hits your hair, you could kill somebody.
Right, but
Or
still,
they'll go, yeah, what he
Mary,
says.
Mary. It's still the act of the word. See,
Yes.
we're taught all this shit is not as important as it truly is. We're taught that the physical act is actually the crime. Where no, inciting is the crime. It's just not the punishable crime. You're allowed to do that because we got free speech, unless you don't have free speech.
But when you go down that path, then you start with the thought police. Oh, you were thinking that anyway. I know you were, so we're going
We're
to
al-
throw your ass in jail.
we're already there. What are you talking about?
I
They
know
have
we're
the
already
right to
there.
imprison you without fucking due process in America. The president can have you arrested at his whim as a terrorist suspect. Nobody has to be told shit. What? How'd that happen? And even if it wasn't true, arresting you, they can arrest you for whatever they want to arrest you for. There's no bars on that. Then you get out. Big deal. Oh, well, we made a boo boo. They do it all the time. Or they, smell something, or you look like somebody they were looking for. It's so out of hand and ridiculous and for your safety. And then you fuel it. Here you go. This is the best part with this Islamic terrorist in a 10,000 miles from your nearest home, right? But they've got a mosque in the big city. Oh, crying out fucking loud.
Yeah. They've
It's a
got
con. It's a fucking con. All these people are all in cahoots with each other, and the results show you they have a plan.
Well, and I really think there's been a plan in the works ever since organized religion
Look
became
who you can't. Yeah,
organized.
look, look at who you can't criticize, and there's the bad guy.
Yeah.
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 Well, I didn't write that one. Did you write that one?
No, I did not.
Oh, did the Jehovah Witnesses write it?
No, I don't think so. Because I really
Chris?
don't. I don't think they.
Maybe it was a half towelhead, half Christian,
Hey, it could have
Muslim,
been. It could have been.
Muslim Jehovah Witness eating elephant. I mean, this is just so stupid. I mean, I cannot believe that in the modern day, with all the technology we have at our fingertips, and we're still burning oil like a bunch of monkeys and bitching about the other guy's borders doesn't have a high wall between my border and what? You need protection from people from another government. I mean, doesn't that tell you you're having an enemy made for you to have?
Oh, hey, but wait, there's more. Here's a made to order enemy just for you. And if you send us 1/4 of all the money that you take in every year, we will keep that wheel spinning and we will get you more enemies than you can shake a stick at. Yeah, buddy. I'm excited. I don't know about you.
Cowboy Cabe wants us to take him to our leader, but what's a leader? I don't care.
A
I don't give
leader?
a shit.
A liter is a bottle.
Yeah, that's how they measure drinks over here.
You,
It's- yeah.
oh, hey, Grimmy wants to. Did monkeys burn
Yeah,
oil? I didn't know monkeys burned oil, but those of us
sure.
wandering around in meat suits, we do it.
Same thing.
those of Actually, those of us running out in the less hair meat suit
Yeah.
burn just about anything. Watch
It's
it
sad.
burn, burn, baby, burn.
But right, but the one thing that we should burn, that if you actually did burn it, it would be beneficial to everybody that you know. It's illegal to do that. And here's the other thing is where people get off that it's okay for other groups of people to make rules for you to live by. What? I mean, we have inherent understandings. We all of us deal in our day without killing anybody or raping small children or farm animals. And you know what? Nobody wakes me up in the morning and says, "You know what? I don't want you to do today. This is not on your to-do list for today." So what's the point of any of it? It's all about commerce. Well, how do you get people to agree to this nonsense? You keep them in a state of constant fucking fear and hatred.
Fear
And
of punishment.
no, they love to deal out the punishment.
No, but you keep them in fear of punishment. And that's where it goes back to the organized religion thing for me is, every damn organized religion out there. If you don't behave in a certain way, when you leave this earthly plane, you will go to eternal damnation and torture and fire and brimstone and yada, 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 yada. So,
Mm,
see, that starts you down that path as far as I'm concerned.
mm.
You do this whole organized religion bullshit and oh my God, if I don't behave good now, then for eternity, someone will be poking a hot cattle prod up my ass. Really? Really? Hun, once you die, you will no longer have an ass. So how are you going to feel it? I just don't get that. Now, I do understand, and I fell for that for quite a few years, and actually until my mom and dad were going through their divorce, and mom, being the good little Catholic that she was, she made the vestments for the priests, and all of this other fun stuff. She did her turn at going to clean the rectory. She helped cook food for the priests, yada yada yada, all this fun stuff, helped clean the church. And then when dad decided to divorce her, whom my father converted to Catholicism just so that they could get married. And then my father was sleeping around on my mom for the last 10 years that they were married. And when he filed for divorce from my mom, or when he said that he wanted to divorce my mom, the Catholic Church said, "Oh, my mom can't receive communion anymore because, well, she's going to be a sullen woman." And ooh, bam, just by magic, just by the fact of some judge granting something on a fucking piece of paper, all of a sudden, all of us kids from that union were no longer legitimate. So we could no longer participate in all of the lovely little rituals. And I thought, wow, one person fucks up. One person does something that is contemptible, and everyone else has to pay for it. In your eyes, wow, that's just a really spiffy way of looking at things, and I think I no longer want to be a member of your club.
Well, whose club are you a member of now?
Mine.
Come on.
Seriously, I mean, there's a lot of people that I'm kind of like a butterfly. I flit over and I look at this one, and I flit over and I look at that one, and I check. And I am a dork. I will proudly proclaim that yes, I am a dork. But I have a Groucho Marx mentality. I don't want to be a member of a group that wants to have me as a member of their group.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
So,
But did I mute me again?
no, I heard you.
Okay. Well, I wasn't sure. See, because now I'm sitting here in doubt about my entire existence as a human being, because I listened to something I saw online, and it changed my fucking life. I mean, wow. My whole life is whatever I can see. And I don't consider seeing on it on a electric box. That's not it's not 100% solid view of anything.
Yeah.
It's a perception of something, but it's not necessarily completely everything that there is there.
Yeah.
Right? So
Mhm.
I figure if I can't touch it with my hands or see it with my own eyes, then 99% of the time I'm getting lied to. Moon landing, JFK assassination, uh, George Bush elections twice. Oh, jeez. Uh, what's his name? Nixon was an honest man and earned every penny he got. I mean, and the list it goes on and on and on. And all my life, these people were uh, indoctrinating me with all these facts and shit that when I became an adult, I found out were not true.
Yeah.
Edison was just a greedy prick that wanted us all to pay him for something he found. That's all.
Yeah. And yet,
Tesla wanted us all to have as much as we wanted, which is the cornerstone right now of life. If we had free energy, we wouldn't be slaves to these fucking kingdoms and governments and borders and shit. People wouldn't behave the way they're taught to behave because the teaching would be different. All the things that we're doing today are encouraged by the people that own us. And they make you feel patriotic and responsible for these just fucking illusions that if you took them down to a smaller scale. Here, I'll give you an example. Mary, I feel chatty.
okay.
I'm going to take a piece of paper and I'm going to write down 10 things I think my neighbor should be able to do. You know, and I'm going to protect his fucking right to do these 10 things. But what he doesn't know is that if he doesn't pay me my, annual piece of his fucking income, that my boys are going to come in there and take everything he's got and throw him in a jail cell. Now, it wouldn't even be possible if he didn't support it in the first place. But I tricked him into it. I told him a lie. I said, look, you're free. You're free to choose. What jail cell did you like again?
Yeah.
Well, that's how I see this whole Declaration of Independence and Bill of Rights and all this horse shit. Who the fuck decided that, okay, here's the future's coming, so I'm going to make this piece of paper, and on that piece of paper, it's going to tell you what you can and cannot do. That's not freedom. That's slavery, you fucking idiot. I don't need to be told I can't murder my neighbor if I want his dinner plate. I have to ask him for it nicely, like a gentleman. There's no excuse for being violent. We all know that. All that, well, he started it. It was just a bunch of nonsense so some psycho could get away with punching somebody. But the bulk of us, we know. And the weirdo that acts on his fucking impulses and runs around like a baboon in a small society gets put in a fucking box and told to behave himself by his peers. See, you don't let these things grow so big that the problem controls you, like in society today.
Yeah.
Because they keep them small and manageable in certain parts of the sane world where having 9 million people in one place is a fucking stupid idea.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I mean, there's places in Kansas you can drive for hours and not see a building or a house or a person.
Yeah.
Or there was when I was through it in the 80s and 70s.
Well, yeah, there's still places where you can,
Drive.
as we called it, booze cruising.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get you a 6-pack of beer and go out driving country roads, and you may not see another soul for a couple hours. You might see an old building that's kind of half broke down, but, just diddle farting around on country roads. Oh, yeah. And going down to see my grandkids when they still lived here in Kansas, there were lots of times when driving those 2-lane roads, I would drive for an hour and not see another vehicle.
Except the illegal aliens crossing the border, right?
No, wouldn't even see them because they're good. They hide in the scrub.
It's just ridiculous, I think it was Mexico that fought for the state of California in some war. Texas, California, Arizona. That all that land belonged to somebody before America fought somebody to take it. And if you're aggressive and you challenge somebody and you've got enough people behind you to take their fucking country from them, whoa, I'm going to fight them with a pea shooter over half an acre.
Yeah, and you look
Yeah.
at that stuff I look back at that and I think, wow. And it would be nice to be able to look back and go, wow, look how far we've come, but no. Yeah, look how far we've come. Now instead of just doing it on, in a very limited area, now we're doing it everywhere. But why can't people just, you're passing through, you go, hey dude, do you mind if I squat here for a little bit? And the problem is, as I see it, is that somehow or another, people got convinced that they are owed something. Whether it's owning a piece of property or, I need a place to live and, well, you've got too big of a place, so I'm going to take some of your place. Doesn't make a shitting bit of difference that you're doing a damn fine job of taking care of it, and when I come over and I start moving in and doing my thing, it winds up being a hellhole. That don't mean shit because I want that over there, and so therefore I have every right to take it. That mentality just really, really irritates me to no end. It's like, why in the hell can't people just learn to fucking share once in a while? If you've got extra and you don't want it to go to waste, then share it with someone else. If you've got extra and you're going to be a greedy little bastard, you would much rather sit there and go, I've got extra, but I don't want you to have any of it, so I'm going to sit here and I'm going to watch it rot. Just so can't have it.
Let me ask you a question, Mary.
What's that?
Okay. Well, let's say that all these questions you're asking, let's say that the person listening is one of those Alex Jones, Fox News informed folk that are well-meaning and, want those Palestinians punished because they keep attacking Israel.
Yeah, with their rocks as Israel throws bombs at them.
Leave the truth out of it. I'm just saying. This is I'm being my aunt, the Democrat.
Oh, okay.
Wants Hillary in office. I'm trying to give you the mindset that she has.
Ouch.
Because those evil Republicans want to build a wall and keep my people out. And wait a minute, you're American or you're Mexican? Oh, no. You never get a straight answer from some people. Anyway, so how do you ever make that argument to them where it's just not an instant flat earth, round earth, sides, pick sides, be important. I'm on the right side, you're on the wrong side, you're stupid. That's what we've become.
Yeah, we've become a bunch of nanny boo boo. I mean, that's pretty much what. Howdy, Gary L. and Cowboy, you were behaving just fine. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
We know the truth.
Yeah. I won't tell Gary what you're doing.
But still, all right. But if that's the mindset that you're trying to reason with about a truth that you've uncovered in your adult life, am I correct?
Uh-huh.
That at one time you too were fooled by the very same things. But these things work so well that people will know you. They see the change you've gone through and they still want to cling to the lie.
Yeah.
It's peer pressure. It's very intimidating. Like you can live alone. A lot of people are terrified to be alone. That's what they don't want. Then they'd be responsible for what they do and say to other people. They'd have to face the same people over and over and know their neighbor. That's not appealing.
Ah, that is true, Gary L. Yeah, it is polarized. Yep. Yeah, and that was one of those things, with the whole living alone thing. I think maybe everyone should have to do that for at least a year.
Wait, have to do with it? There's that force.
I know. There's that. There ought to be a law thing, don't you think?
Well, all right. Okay, so let me strip this down a little further. All right? You up
Uh-huh.
to this? All right. As I recall, once upon a time, I was just a little boy, right?
Yeah.
Now, although, that was quite a while ago, I still have, vague memories of some little bits and pieces here and there of being a little child. And if I hadn't been taught to be a greedy, selfish, little combative prick, what would I have been?
I don't know.
Okay, exactly. Well, but that is the goal of what the teaching was for. So that I could compete in the world and get my fair share and, be defensive about fighting and not get my ass kicked. What the fuck? And it was stepping out of all that horse shit that stopped it from coming. Once I didn't attract it, then life was a whole lot nicer without all the fighting.
Well, and I think a lot of that fighting is because somebody fed everyone a line, somebody,
Mhm.
whoever that someone was, that there is such a thing as scarcity.
Right. But had my parents taught me a different way to live, would have grown a different way. I would
Yes,
have
you
been a
would have.
different person. So the angry, aggressive, selfish fuck that I am was what was intended by my family's input. That's what they were trying to get. If that's not what they were trying to get, then they should have made me nicer. There was that opportunity. But I wasn't raised with that. All people are nice to each other and it's all fair and color doesn't mean anything and certain things they pushed in other directions.
See, and my dad was very, very bigoted. Very bigoted.
That's why I tell you all the time, everybody's a bigot. You might not even know you're a bigot. It's just a fucking title. It's a label. It doesn't matter. You're complaining about a corporation anyway. It doesn't represent anybody you know. It's so vague and ambiguous that you believe it's real. It truly has it's a fiction, just like reading a book.
Yeah, but you know
All this,
what
yeah,
was
it's
funny with my
nonsense.
dad being so bigoted is every time he would, cuz especially my very first boyfriend. Well, not my very first
Uh,
boyfriend cuz my very first boyfriend was in kindergarten. But
uh,
you know how that shit goes.
no.
No. But my very first, like out of kindergarten boyfriend, his dad was Cherokee and his mom was a white girl. And this gentleman worked with my dad. Dad didn't have a problem with him. Dad really liked his wife. But his son, by God, I was not to be seeing him because he's a fucking half breed. And it's like, what, wait a minute here. So he's chocolate vanilla ice cream all mixed together, and I can't have that.
Wow.
But if I were to have chocolate, if I were to have vanilla, that would be okay. But if I get a scoop of chocolate and a scoop of vanilla, oh no! Oh, don't let them touch! Don't let them touch! I mean, that's the way my mind equated it. And I was like, I don't get that. Why in the? And then my dad would say stuff like, "Well, I'm part Cherokee," and it's like, wait a
Oh,
minute
yeah.
here. Wait a minute. So it's okay. It's cool that you're part Cherokee, but I can't have a boyfriend that's half Cherokee. Whoa. Talk about. So, from a very early age, like early teens, I learned, some people will say some of the most moronic things. And you just got to look at them and go, what? So, I never really, I've never been a person to, look at someone and go, oh, your skin color is wrong. I can't be friends with you.
No. Yeah.
Or oh, your hair looks like shit. I can't be friends with you. If you're willing to talk to me, odds are I'll be friends with you.
Yeah,
It's not
that's
until
how.
you be an absolute dick at me that unless I want you to. But
Well, it seems to me that I'm one of the few people on the planet that only encounters a small number of other human beings on any given day. I don't entertain thousands of people. I might talk to maybe on a real busy day, 5 different people I might say something to. So out of 7 billion, and I've just talked to 5 of them, I got a long way to go, you know? So if my reality is that small, then the rest of you are doing something wrong, in my opinion. And in their opinion, I'm the one that's wrong because I won't participate at a more in-depth level with society than I do.
And see, that's where the right and wrong thing just really kind of bothers me. Even though I fall into that occasionally, it's just everybody does things differently. Doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong, just means it's different.
Right, right. And then there's your value judgment that you've acquired in your lifetime, and how you hold value on things
Yeah.
comes out in terms of commerce and punishment.
Yes.
And reward and punishment. And I don't know. I don't I don't have an alternative to it, but I have a solution for what's going on, because I believe everything that we are doing on a daily basis, all the foundation of it all, is based on lies. And if they were forced to tell the truth about everything, no more lying to, because they'll justify it, their bullshit, with more bullshit. And then all you're arguing about is whether or not a part of it was a lie when the whole foundation of it was. So they got you chasing a problem that even if you solve that, you're not going to fix the real problem.
Yeah, when you start off with a lie, everything else, it doesn't make a shitting bit of difference how many facts you throw in there afterwards. It started out as a lie, and therefore facts are just being used to support the lie.
Right. So I see the American dream, all this Constitution and Bill of Rights crap. I've always saw it as, why are you telling me what I can do? Who the fuck are you to tell? I don't know. I don't like that. And in my lifetime, the authority has just resorted to handcuffs and violence to get me to comply with them, because no, I don't want nothing to do with you fucking people. And they frown on that.
Hey, Miss Penny, welcome aboard. Yeah, I listened to one. I don't remember if it was Mark Passio or who it was, where they said that the Bill of Rights was actually a declaration of negative rights for the government itself.
Yeah,
these are things
but
that
they
you
turned
shall
it on
not.
us.
Yeah, these are things that you shall not touch. You shall not infringe upon. And yet, now, where we are living right now, it's these are things that you're allowed to do, as opposed to these are things that. And
We're
what a
allowed to
lot
do.
of people don't, of people don't realize that, I keep seeing these things of the government lied and people died. No, the government didn't lie, because the government is a fictional entity. The government is a mass delusion. People in the name of government lied and people died. That's the way it really worked. In the name of, whether it's in the name of the fictional entity of government, whether it's in the name of a certain religious belief, whether it's in the name of, they are using those things as tools, but they are the actual ones that are doing the lying. There ain't no fucking government. Government don't lie. NASA doesn't lie. NASA is another fictional entity. It's the people that are using that fictional entity as their shield, that are going, oh, but wait, this is true. We did that. And I saw a video earlier today, and I think Estrella may have shared it over on FN, of NASA lied. I don't know. It wasn't Estrella. It was over on Informed Planet. Someone had shared it. And NASA's got a new Orion capsule, and they're actually talking to astronauts, and they're actually talking to people that are designing, like, when you said you'd worked for some firm that was building like a satellite or whatever.
Right.
And it's so compartmentalized. And there was one gentleman that was he's apparently an engineer on the Orion capsule, and he's got all these graphs and all these pictures and all this fun shit, and he's talking about how um, we're going to be able to get past the Van Allen radiation belt or whatever and explore the moon because we haven't been able to do that yet. And it's like, wait a minute, what? Wait a minute.
You saw that. Huh?
Didn't you supposedly do that in the 60s? What?
Yeah.
So
That was between the hula hoop and the slinky.
yeah, and the hula hoop and the slinky were wonderful distractions, and I still can't fucking hula hoop.
Right. So, what part of your brain finally caught on that all the input is from the same source? It doesn't matter what the input is, because you're the one receiving it. You can do what you like with it.
I don't know what part of my brain finally, and I can't even give you an exact moment because I think every moment I'm catching on to more and
Right.
more.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And it's not everybody sees the path they're on is a different path. Some people are designed and put here to be in charge of the other slaves. And if you're resistant to the slave thing, you're the one they're going to argue with the most, because they're trying to get you back in the, you're not being in line with the rest of the sheep. You're acting up, and they got to punish you for it.
And I think that whole thing is simply because people are afraid, because if they actually stop and listen to that little voice in the back of their head, and I can tell with talking with some of these people that are so freaking Stockholm syndrome kind of shit, with talking to them, it's like, dude, seriously, listen to that little part of your brain that's causing you to have that little hesitation there. Listen to that voice. But if they actually listen to that voice, then they'll realize that they've been playing along and feeding the beast as well.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then they have to accept the
can I interrupt you
responsibility.
for a minute?
Yeah.
Gary wrote something about, I'm sorry, but Gary wrote, there were a few very enlightened people who contributed to the original documents, but were pretty quickly displaced, and in parentheses, along with the written precepts, blah, 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 by those who had to maintain monarchy at any cost. See, now I look at Gary L. as an example of somebody that's got the ability to look at the results around him, and instead of using the research as a tool to prove a flawed perspective, he's actually going after something that was claimed to be perfect and finding out where they lied to him. And he went all the way back to the game is rigged from the beginning. They just like the religion. When you look at the written documents come from men. Well, there you go, scam. You're being had, suckers. That's what we do to each other.
Yeah.
We lie and steal and cheat and get you to like us so you'll buy our new fucking perfume line. That's what life is about. That's what they call success. That is what is wrong with us.
Yeah.
They punish a guy in, I forget what city it was in the States, but he was giving homeless people free haircuts for a long time. And all of a sudden, the city didn't like it. You can't tax free. They can't tax his labor. That proves the slavery is real. They punished him because he couldn't provide income for what they want his tax money from.
I think that was actually in Florida.
You remember it, though,
Yes,
right?
I do. Yes, I do.
Okay, yeah. But I know I got all in, but Gary brought back that. Just if we were told the truth about any one thing, just one fucking thing, they lie about everything, and yet people won't stand against it. They say they stand against it, but I don't know how. I don't see it. I see them arguing about what color your skin is or which toilet you want to use. It's just the stupidest fucking weird shit that you can think of. How much fucking time do you spend in a bathroom that it absorbs your mind to where little girls are being assaulted? I mean, wow. That's a strange hobby you got there in the first place. And I think the person with the problem needs to go see somebody. Not, there's more of you than there is a psycho guys dressing like women bothering little girls. So let's go with the government's already looking for groups to fuck with. Let's send them after those people. The do-gooders, the well-meaning, those fuckers, those greedy fuckers that belong in a jail cell.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah, they're horrible. Taxation. Are you kidding me? It's a scam. It's all.
It's legalized theft.
But it's so obvious to people like you, and so like Hans. Oh, that poor man. That is one. He suffers badly from authority. He's got to have his hand of authority on other people. I don't want to do anything to Hans. I don't care if Hans has sex with a dead cat, smokes mushrooms out of the toilet bowl. I don't care if he sits around and jacks off in his own feces while he's reading Guns and Ammo. Do whatever you can live with. I just don't want Hans telling me that I can't smoke a fucking pipe load. That is none of your fucking business in the first place. Just as your personal behavior is none of my business. But when we interrupt each other at that level of reality and start getting physical about subjective ideas, then you should realize there's a problem somewhere that creates all this violence that we read about.
Yeah. My brother David was, he and I have some quite interesting discussions, actually. And we were having a discussion because I had seen some things on the internet, and for some reason or another they just hit me wrong. And he has this knack of messaging me right after I see this stuff. And that's where I think families really do have a connection. If you have a close-knit family, you really do have that connection. And he'll wind up messaging me and going, "So what's going on?" And then we call each other and we'll sit there and rant and rave for a while. But I was telling him how some of this stuff is just making me absolutely freaking nuts. With, people thinking that they have to have someone there to tell them what is right and what is wrong. And he pulled up a Bible verse, and I read the Bible. I actually read it cover to cover once. I remember a few things. I have gone back and looked up passages, that kind of shit. But other than that, it's to me, the Bible is just like another book. I've read lots of books, and I've actually learned better life lessons from other books than the Bible. But that's me personally. And he was telling me and I don't even remember what part of the Bible it was in. I'm thinking Corinthians, but I could be wrong. Odds are I am wrong. In any case, he was talking about how the people were speaking to someone and they were saying, "We need to have a king. Those people over there have a king. We need to have a king." And this teacher was telling them, "No, you don't need a king. God doesn't say that you have to have a king. You don't need a king. You don't need a ruler. You need to rule yourself, and you need to do it in a manner that is not destructive towards others, not intentionally hurtful towards others. You don't need a king. Oh, no, we need a king because that guy over there has a king, so therefore we need kings. We need a ruler. We need someone to sit above us and tell us, down from the mountain, let us know that this is how we should behave. As if we don't have a fucking conscience. Now, I know there are some people in this world that don't have a conscience. I've met people like that. And I try, I will try and talk with them a little bit, but it gets to the point where you just go, okay, I'm done. I'm getting as far away from you as I possibly can because there's just no frickin' dealing with you.
That's my point from the beginning, is that we have an already built-in automatic. You know this is wrong. You don't even talk about these. They're just beyond stupid to bring it up in conversation. So, as a normal human being, you avoid being in those situations. And the rest of people, then they start looking for things to be wrong about.
Yeah.
Crossing the line without, waiting for the light to change, and, you know, not having this little card when you do this with a car. What? Bunch of shit, if you ask me. But if they've got you crowded in at, like 5 or 6 million people all in one area, that's the reason they have all those things, because they want to pick your pockets so that you can't afford to live.
Yeah. Yeah, because
I
if you
I
can't
remember
afford to
when
live, then
yeah.
odds are they can get you to where you would be dependent upon them.
Right, but see, when I started in 1975, right? I
Hmm.
mean, I think I got a speeding ticket, and I'm sure there was like a fine connected to it of like $15, and I was irate. $15? Are you out of your fucking mind? And now here we are in 2016, and that same ticket it cost you about $1,000. And then you got programs and debt programs. They fucked everybody out of every nickel they can get out of you.
Oh,
And the lower you are on the totem pole, right? It seems the more compliant you're willing to be, because you're less likely to ever be informed that you're a slave of this fucking machine that you think is keeping you alive and helping you. It's doing nothing for you. You're just a willing, useful tool of it.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's basically we are tools to those lovely
Mm.
little people that do things in the name of.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not above that. I'm just saying I don't financially participate in it. I never have. And of course, people have always gone, all nuts at me. You don't pay taxes on your income, and well, what income? What are you talking about? Income it is money that you earn off an investment, and that wasn't what I did.
Yeah, any money that you got was as a barter. It
Yeah,
was
it
it
was
was an
wages.
agreement.
Right, but it was wages or it was an hourly, but it was never in the in that category of commerce where it's taxable, which would be income. So what they did was they changed the definition of the word income to match the need at the time of the publication. That's what legalese does.
Yeah,
They just wait until they need something. They change a few words in something, and the next thing you know, you owe them money.
yeah.
Who in their right mind wants to play in a rigged game like that with the psychos that run this shit? Did you ever hear John McCain whining about the Chinese have all the best Chinese restaurants?
No.
I mean, this guy, bad arms from his time in Vietnam and all that aside, but wow. I mean, the mushrooms cooked his brain.
Oh,
He
John,
runs around spewing shit like a fucking idiot.
he's a sick mother. I
Right,
have
right,
no
right.
use for
But
him.
see, then why is he out there running around representing the United States? Doesn't anybody have the ability to go, hey, John, you had too many drinks today. You maybe go shut up.
Yeah.
I mean, what politician says ignorant shit like that?
Okay.
Except for the guy that said that Guam would capsize if the military put in
Oh, all you got to do
120.
is check out C-SPAN. Somebody's bound to say something stupid. And Grimmy wants you to tell Circles hi for him.
Sir, Grimner says hello, sweetheart. Mm. They're having dinner out on the porch, so I don't know
Oh,
if she heard me, but I said it. So
yeah. Hans just shared something about. Let's see. He heard on the internet that magically the crime rate would go down in Colorado when pot was legalized, and it actually went up 400%. So much for the credibility of anything that you read on the internet, and that applies to that comment as well, Hans. Love you, dearly, darling. I truly do. But if the crime rate in Colorado had increased that much, do you really think that it would be expanding as much as it is. I mean, no. And no. I call bullshit
Crime.
on that. I know an awful lot of people that live in Colorado, and they will tell you that 400% figure is bullshit.
Well, if what 80% of their crime is potheads, if they legalize pot, then that's no longer a crime. Where does the other 80% come from?
I don't know. And Asmo, you are right. Lazy population leads to idiots to rule them. Yes, it does.
Hey, but that took them a long time to get where they are now. Because I grew up playing in the dirt with sticks, but man, and I was a tough kid. I was riding motorcycles and you name it. I did all that shit. And then when I was old enough to have a kid to do that sort of stuff, it was against the law to do it without licensing and permits.
Yeah, because somebody wrote some squiggles and lines down on a piece of paper. And the rest of us went, yeah, what that says.
I was out dirt bike riding out in L.A., outside of Montebello somewhere, not too far, a couple 10 miles maybe. And there was plenty of road to ride on. So, it wasn't that long ago, but 40 years ago, I guess it is a long time. But it's changed. And it's only changed in the paperwork and the rules and authority is the enemy, and people suck up to it, and they want Trump to lead them to the Great Wall of Mexico, or I don't even know what to call this shit that's going on. It's ridiculous. Brexit. Speculators, take your money, run. We're killing your derivatives games. Stop. Oh, thanks for the warning.
Yeah, that whole Brexit thing. I just really don't. Although I do like. Who is that guy? He's on. There's some guy that does. I don't know if. Well, it's bullshit news. Basically, is what it is. But
it's all bullshit.
Well, yeah.
So what?
But he's so freaking funny because he was talking about the whole Brexit thing, and he just kind of he's like a British broadcaster, whatever. I can't remember his name, but I watched a couple of videos last night before I went online or before I started my show, and just laughed my ass off at him. And I know I shared one of them on Facebook, because he makes me laugh my ass off about some of this shit.
That's all you can do. See, it's all the anger that's keeping us divided and where we are. The reason the scales tilted to shit is because there's more people living in the shit than there aren't. And they believe shit like money changes that. No, it's the mindset that you carry. There are a lot of wealthy people that are supporting this fucking Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton bullshit and forcing it on the rest of us that don't even want to play. And you know what? If you just said as a collective tomorrow, no more federal government. We'll just go with the state. Fuck this federal government. End it. Stop playing. There you go. It's done. But no, you're bullied into, what would we do without it?
Yeah.
I'd, for one, love to see America, just not the state's fault, but the federal government, just fucking ignore them. Tell them to go, go take a piss. Get a real job, you fucking... They're slugs. They're just mooching off you.
They're leeches. They are leeches. They're blood-sucking leeches. And if somebody wants to build a wall, build one around the District of Corruption.
Oh, no.
There's a wall.
No, they already have one. You can't get in there.
You need a bigger wall then, so they can't get out.
That's what they want. That's the mindset that runs that. Then they're protected from you. Then they win.
No, because if they can't get out, then their bullshit can't get out either. You put them in
helicopters.
Make them be bubble boys.
There's a lot of wealthy people living in that spot. All right, if you think so. I wouldn't want to join that particular club, but I am in awe of their collective wealth. It is amazing.
Well,
doesn't mean I want to play that game, but wow, that's some egocentric, inbred fucking runoff, just burying my life into a hole.
And it is impressive, to see how they all of those egomaniacal asshats work together towards a common goal, even though they're all backstabbing, blood-sucking leeches. They are
Yeah, I
still
saw.
all working together. It's like, damn, how in the
Yeah,
hell did you pull that one off? But
I
that
saw the
doesn't mean
Queen
the
of
rest of us
England,
have to listen to them.
but the Queen of England just got a 46 pound, a £1 million a year raise because to maintain her lifestyle from a
Fuck her.
country that's complaining because everybody's broke.
Yeah. We must
What?
austerity measures. Yeah. We must all practice austerity measures as she sits on a fucking throne that's
So
worth more money than most people in her country make in several years, and she has this ugly ass football helmet thing on her head.
well, how did we get in? See, I I was along for the ride too because I don't remember. It didn't start out the way it is now, but how did we get from 1970 to here? Something went horribly wrong somewhere. Excuse me.
Ah,
Cough, cough.
yeah.
I mean, that's my version of it. I'm sure other people would say that there's not enough control and people have too much freedom. And wow, I've heard everything.
Yeah, but you know what? Those that think that people have too much freedom, then start exercising less freedoms on your own part. Those that think that there's too much control, okay, fine. You know, I believe there is too much control, but I think people need to learn to control themselves. Fuck that shit of expecting someone else to control your behavior. Learn to
Right.
control yourself. Hey, that's an adult thing to do. And I know
No, no,
adulting is hard. Adulting
no.
is hard.
It's not something that you're taught to do.
I know
You're
it's
taught
not.
to overreact, you're taught to accuse, you're taught to punish, you're taught to do a lot of shit things, but I don't remember anybody sitting me down and going, "Now, these are the good things that people really like you to do." No. It's the opposite of what I've ever been told.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that shut you right the fuck up, didn't
No, I know it's getting the positive remarks don't happen nearly as often as. It's like,
Right.
"Oh,
We're,
hey,
we're
I like
programmed
what you did right there. I'd like you to keep doing that." You don't hear that shit very often. But you do
because we've
hear,
been
well,
taught to be suspicious of kindness.
yes.
Kindness has been taught. If I'm kind to you as a man to a girl, it's supposed to only be in flirtatious bullshit. We're not allowed to be friends in society anymore. Because you're a feminist and I'm trying to dominate you because I'm a malenist. You know, I'm one of those hardcore manly men, so I'm always going to try to dominate you and be on top and all that horseshit. No, I warned you in the first place. I'm going to interrupt the most important thing you're going to ever say, and I'm going to ask you what time it is.
Because
Right?
that's what you do.
But I was honest. See, I figured if everybody was held to the same level of honesty, at it, and then all these lies that we live under would collapse. People wouldn't be able to tell you these things because they weren't true. Like all the paperwork on your birth certificate and all the shitty things they do with it. So it's been exposed. Look at the small number of people online in the first place.
Yeah.
And in the what third most popular language, I wonder what do the Chinese have freedom sites? Do the Russians? Do the Russians do the internet like we do?
I don't know. I saw something the other day though about China is now making it to where you have to get stamp of approval or whatever. But once again, that was on the internet, so it must be true.
Stamp of approval for what though, dear?
For whatever you want to post on social media.
Oh wow, I don't know. See, that's what I mean is if you if your immediate area isn't bad, your surroundings are good. How do you allow yourself to get sucked into all this negative shit thousands of miles away from you that in the long run doesn't have anything to do with you in any way? But you have this butterfly effect fantasy blown up in your head so much that you believe things because one guy did something. Now it's thousands of these guys are going to do it and you believe them.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I'm not saying that there wasn't ever a guy that went nuts and murdered his wife. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
men have done that in history, right?
Yeah.
But I also believe that the system will take a topic like that, something horrid and negative with a bad result for females, and pound on it and exaggerate it and make more of it than there actually is to keep you afraid and angry at something small there that there's not really that much attention should be given to it, but now you can beat them up, you just can't kill them.
Well, it's the whole mindset of one person did something wrong, so everyone must be punished.
Punished, yeah. Well, it's ingrained in us where I don't see change in that. We're going to be this way. This is the way we are. And all the complaining and walls and my corporation's better than yours, make America great again. Are you out of your fucking mind? What in the hell is make America great again mean? Define that for me.
Yeah, well, it depends on how you spell great, number one.
No, no, Mary, I'm serious. I mean, is the guy next door to you that's had a grudge against you for 5 years because your dog shit in his yard in, you know, 2012, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't spoken to you because of it for 5 years. I mean, that's how petty people are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that kind of anger leads to worse anger. What if the guy calls in and turns him in as a child rapist to some hotline? I mean, you can do these horrible things to each other in
Yeah.
the land of the free that any other country I live in, if you try that shit, they'll put you in jail for doing it. You better have a fucking case, pal. You don't just start acting like an idiot. And here we are, America, turn in your neighbor, keep an eye out, look at this. If you see it, report it. It's fucking Nazi Germany.
Well, and a lot of that is because people just flat ass don't know how to, and that's once again the belief in authority. They don't know how to deal with their conflicts on a personal level because they have been taught since the beginning that you're supposed to contact someone else and they are the ones that will handle your dispute. No, people need to learn. You know, it's just like I don't hate all Muslims, but if I had a Muslim come up to me and slap me upside the head, I would probably not like that person.
Oh,
But
right.
I don't, I don't, just because I don't like that one person, that doesn't mean that it expands out to everyone of their religious belief or everyone of their skin color or everyone of their gender. It doesn't work that way. At least not for me. I don't, if I have an issue with someone, I have issues with a few people that just because I had an issue with them doesn't mean that everyone of their sexual persuasion or whatever the hell is now an evil person that I need to go around dissing and hating on. No, I have an issue
But
with
that's how
that
it
person.
works.
But that's because of the belief in authority that people, instead of, because they have this belief that authority will come fix it all, as opposed to them dealing with it on their own on a one-to-one basis. If you've got an issue with someone, deal with that issue, deal with that person directly. And then if you can't correct it, then walk away.
Mary, my wife taught me a way to make what you're talking about impossible to go past any further than it already has, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we're in a disagreement and we both want something different, we have to hold hands while we're talking about it. And
Yes.
you can't do it. Cannot do it. Can't be mad and sitting there. And then you start thinking, well, yeah, it is kind of childish. I guess I could give in on this one. But, if I had been taught that instead of argument, I wouldn't probably be so hot-headed and so easy to play in an argument, because I like the arguments. I don't care. They're just words on a screen. I'm telling jokes and I'm laughing and I'm carrying on, and your opinion don't match mine, but look at the shared reality we're in. You won, and it sucks. It really does. And you won because you've got people in prison for smoking plants because you don't approve of them smoking a plant, because you believe most of those people steal money. You're just conned and suckered by this illegal media that we read. And it's just sad. I just kind of feel like, wow, if you ever have the opportunity to burn one, I hope you remember that you didn't want to do it.
Yeah. And when you stop and think about it, Nixon is the one that made weed a class one, wasn't he?
Oh yeah.
Okay, and wasn't that around the same time that we went off the gold standard and the silver standard?
Uh-huh.
And wasn't that around the same time that they were doing research on cancer? And that's about when, I think time frame wise, that's about the same time frame that chemotherapy stuff really started. Oh, hey, we have this wonderful new therapy for cancer. And they found that, because I do know some people that, uncles that worked at Mayo Clinic, what have you, that 40 years ago, actually 30 years ago, she told me that 30 years prior to that, they had found the cure for cancer, but they were not going to release it. So, which fits that time frame of Nixon, where they had that time. They knew that, and they could not release that. Why? Because you cannot patent nature.
Okay, Mary, if you Google, I think the original mayor of New York, Cuomo, from the 20s or the 30s, when they were trying to make pot illegal in the very beginning, somewhere in the 30s, right? I probably have the last name wrong, but the information is right. He did a study of the harms of marijuana, or at the time marijuana, on the smoker. Blah 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 blah. Their findings came up to support smoking weed.
Yeah.
And the government, in their enthusiasm to make it illegal, didn't allow that as evidence, because it wasn't evidence on the side they wanted to see.
Yeah.
So here we are 80 years later, and these idiots have to make excuses for the 80 years of crap they've caused everybody else because they didn't want to use hemp. And all these lies that they've used to build their bullshit, the weight of it has still yet to collapse on enough people to make it stop. But maybe 10 or 20 more years of slavery and they'll get it.
I'm starting to see, though, with a lot of the people I would have never expected to see them share such things on Facebook are sharing links about how cannabis cures cancer, and cannabis helps Alzheimer patients, and cannabis helps this, and cannabis, which another link that I'd run across, and God, I would have to do a lot of digging to find it, said that when it first started being called marijuana, the reason why they called it marijuana as opposed to cannabis, or why that terminology really became the acceptable term to use, was because those dirty Mexicans and marijuana sounded like a Mexican word as opposed to cannabis, because nobody was scared of cannabis. Everybody knew what cannabis was. Nobody had a problem with cannabis. But when they really started pushing it and calling it marijuana, then people started freaking because they thought, oh my God, it's something from them dirty Mexicans. And I'd read that, and I don't remember where in the hell I'd read it. It's been a couple months back, and it's just stuck. And it's like, wow, that is just really funny how you take a little bit of terminology change, and you can change the whole conversation.
Right, but that's the truth. And the Mormon Church is the one that, as far as a church, that was behind it in the beginning. And then they started to attract the businesses. They saw the connection between pot and hemp.
Yeah.
Which was the goal in the whole first place, because people like Randolph Hearst had newspapers and forests to clear full of wood, and a lot of money was involved in all that. So they conned everybody into believing the good was the bad, and here we are now crying about it like a bunch of babies. I want my rights. So you know what? I've been smoking it without their fucking rights ever since I can remember. I was like 12, 13. I had my first toke, right? Probably closer to 13. Anyway, all this complaining that Hans is doing on the main feed and all that, I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, I do want to address something that he's got here on here, though. He says because
Mm.
even the hippie commune, you are still not free to break the usual basic rights laws. And it's like, okay, wait a minute here. And then he says,
That,
so are you really free? Which that's where people get things messed up as far as
wow,
I'm
yeah,
concerned. You
yeah,
are free
yeah.
to violate natural law. You are free to do that. But you are also then free to suffer the repercussions or the ramifications of the act of breaking natural law. And most hippies that I knew, and sweetheart, I am a
Mm-hmm.
hippie. I'm a conservative hippie, but I
Mm-hmm.
am a hippie. You know, this is to Hans. I don't want to break any natural law. But to me, natural law is okay, there are certain laws of physics. Like if I were to jump off the roof, odds are I would break something on my anatomy that I would not want to break. So therefore, I don't even try and break that law. Um, the other natural laws are simply by virtue of you being in existence, you have a right to be in existence. So, in other words, I don't have a right to remove you from existence, or as we call it, murder.
You don't have a right to decide my rights.
Yeah,
Top that one.
yeah.
Now what you going to say? And I still would never hurt you anyway. So I mean, that's just insane. Oh my goodness! Thank you. Bless your heart. I got a present from the kitchen
Oh, ah.
because I'm a wonderful guy.
Yeah, see, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
and Grim says if I don't know what Hans is talking about, of course I know what Hans is talking about. Hans is conditioned uh, in the eyes of Fox News and basic, press releases to believe a fantasy that was bullshit from when it started, and he's still spewing the same dried up old argument, but he's using modern day terminology like transients and bullshit. What do you people think that you got thousands of people roaming the streets of major downtown cities? You're on crack. There's something wrong with you, and you need to seek help. That's my opinion. Otherwise, there would be 50,000 links on the internet showing you constant video, people ravaging. Look at what they're doing to Denver. No, it's all Hans talking.
Yeah. Well, and you
And
know what? Any opinion that you're going to put out there, there's always going to be something that you can find on the internet to support that opinion. That's just the way life works and the internet works, and that's why everything on the internet is true to someone.
well, but see, the drama has to be fueled, and then it has to be fed, and has to be maintained.
Yes.
And if you refuse to do any of those three things, at least one of them, maintain would be my guess. Go with that, but have fun with it in the middle. Let Hans thinks he's right. I don't give a fuck if he thinks he's right or if he thinks I'm wrong. Look at the fucking results within your vision. What is the looking around you where you live in your environment? Are you happy when you wake up in the morning? When you go out and have to deal with your public, are you pleased to be out there, doing your little trading with your little card or whatever the fuck you have, your little pieces of paper, your coins, whatever the fuck it is, you're still out there. Does it give you a good feeling to be around people, or do you go through it grudgingly, like you're doing them some fucking favor that without you the world would and the world would collapse without you? Because that's the way you come off when you type on the computer. Like my life is worth fuck all, and yours is worth so much more because you hold a completely different mental value of life than I do.
Yeah. Well, and that's.
Ketchup. Thank you.
Do you know that ketchup is just a tomato smoothie?
No, yeah, but I said ketchup.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was handing her something
Oh,
because we're
and I
we're
heard
intimate.
ketchup. See?
No, well,
Now, isn't that funny? You said ketchup and I heard ketchup.
no,
And a lot of times that's where people have misunderstandings, and instead of going, "Oh shit, I misunderstood you," they go, "No, no, what I heard was right. It doesn't make shit bit of difference what you said. What I heard was right."
Yeah, yeah. The court has spoken.
Yeah.
That's all that. That's all that pounding we take for law and order, and things have to be in within the boundaries of, and how far are you willing to take it? You
Yeah.
know, if you don't like that there's a dirty glass on the table, get the fuck up and wash the dirty glass. But most people will either hint or complain or order you. But very people will just get up, and if something bothers them enough, do something about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a good story, Well, we've been in Iraq for 15 years, and look at how well things are going. Not if you're an Iraqi, they're not. And not anymore if you're an American, because by now you got to figure it out. It's a big scam. You're getting fucked somehow. Doesn't matter how. It just matters that you are.
Oh,
Because you're not going to stop it.
yeah. I had a big discussion with. Well, it got quite entertaining, actually. It got to the point where it was like I was feeding the beast just to see where it would go. Why?
Oh.
Because I'm an obnoxious twit like that sometimes. But I had an argument like that with someone over on Facebook, and was trying to get them to understand that maybe, just maybe, Palestinian people are just reacting to the bullshit that's happening to them. And this individual was telling me, well, no, they're just dirty and they're just this and that. And I was like,
Yeah, well,
would you stop and think? If people did that shit to you, if some fictional entity all of a sudden decided that you no longer had a reason to exist simply because they decided that, you wouldn't have a problem with that? You wouldn't fight back? Not one little bit? Don't tell me you wouldn't. Because I would
Okay.
call bullshit on you.
I think that Gaza is practice for other places.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
And these people play in increments of like 20 years to them as a snap. That they got plenty of time, because they've been doing this a little at a time since before I was born. I mean, I can track this back to about 1870, where the paperwork changes abruptly and the little baby steps turn into jumps.
Yeah.
And then after that, then Lincoln takes over, and then everything he does is lied about and misrepresented in the history 100 years later. And we're all told how this happened and that happened. No, it was a fucking land grab, and the government needed more revenue, and they were going to take it one way or the other. You either give it up or we'll come get it.
Yeah.
And we'll kill anybody that fucking doesn't want. You don't want to do it, we'll kill you.
Yeah.
And here we are today, all these years later, doing the same fucking stupid dance over and over and over under the same families. And nobody seems to follow the dotted lines to go, hey, man, this is a scam. We're getting fucked.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, if you don't give us what we want, and if you don't, let us take your property and your house and all that shit, well, if I can't have it and nobody can, we're just going to blow it to smithereens. And then what are you going to do, huh? That's kind of the mentality that fictional entity, or those that are acting in the name of that fictional entity, that's the mentality they've had for eons, I think. Those that always act in the name of, and when you really do break it down, I think I wrote a blog about it probably about it's probably been about 6 or 7 years ago now, way back when I was really seriously writing a lot of blogs about every war breaks down to, you've got green M&Ms and I want them. That's pretty much what it breaks down to.
That's the truth, but they fuel the anger with bullshit stories through the media that when 20, 30, 40 years go down the road, and then finally there's a way to produce the documents that would have stopped it the day before it happened. But and over and over and over, and if you go through the histories of all these wars for the last 100 years, you'll find out that they were always entered on under bullshit stories that were proven to be false later on in history. So why believe it at all?
Well, yeah.
Oh, well, because those Islamists are gonna come and get you. I saw the mosque down the street.
They're
Don't you
here.
know?
They're here. Yeah.
Well, so why? Why are they there? Because your government put them there, you dumb shit. You guys are just there to keep the middle class fucking working so the rich got something to do.
Well, it's called controlling
And
both sides of the
it
field.
works.
Yeah.
It works. I mean, all those thousands of Syrian refugees. I live 40 miles from Germany. I don't know where these thousands of refugees all go. I haven't seen one. I've seen Muslims. They're in and out of town. I mean, it's not like it doesn't happen. There's just not a large amount, and there's no religious building for them to meet at. But I've seen their presence, and wow, they see my Jewness all over my face, and they don't even try to throw me under the train or strap a bomb to me or nothing. They're relatively fairly nice people. And they probably wonder what the fuck I'm doing here, just like I wonder about them.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta
It's,
say,
it's
hey,
it's
Moosey,
obvious I'm not
congrats. Sorry, I had to interrupt. Moosey had on here that her son pitched 4 scoreless innings. Congrats. Damn, good job.
Yeah, last night it was similar, 4 or 5. Yeah, I don't appreciate the competition stuff anymore, but I do know the numbers.
Well,
I'm not a stranger to it. I'm just choosing a different road.
See, it's a game, and
Mhm.
I think games are very important, for that kind of stuff because you learn to work together towards a common goal, all that fun stuff. But I do have a problem with all of the emphasis that's being put on it anymore. Like here in our school district out here, there is so much money that goes to sports. And we have a very limited budget for the school system anyway, but so much money goes to the sports, and yet they completely forget, it's the oh well, we've got these little crumbs left over here for the kids that are doing like the math things or the academic bowls or drama or speech or forensics or any of that stuff, or even music. And music is very important. Children can learn all kinds of wonderful things just from learning how to create music.
Hey, children can teach you all kinds of wonderful things if you listen to them.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, and that's one thing that I think is so true, is any teacher that is worth their salt will learn just as much from their students as their students learn from them, if not more. And any teacher worth their salt will admit to learning just as much, if not more, from their students. So,
Yeah, and then there again, here we go into that authority situation that we've been indoctrinated into. And whenever I look at the results of the society that we've created, I'm just totally disappointed. I think we could do a lot better if life were based on truth instead of bullshit.
yeah.
I mean, they got us with global warming, and they got it debunked, and they admitted they lied, right? Am I correct so far?
Yeah.
I'm not making all this up. This is my information.
Yeah.
So here we are, and still there's people out there preaching if you're against them, then you're on the wrong side. What? I mean, come on. When is enough enough? What does it take for you to finally say, no, I'm not doing this? Nuh-uh.
Yeah, well, that's because there's just so damn many people out there going, yeah, so what of it?
Well, I walked away from everything I owned and did it.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the option to go back to America or go forward. And I went, no, I'm going to stay where I'm at and see where I go, but I'm not going back there.
There's a reason, and there's a really wonderful quote that I'd seen quite a while back that has really stuck with me. There is a reason why the rearview mirror in your car is smaller than your windshield. Because you need to see where you're going. It's more important to see where you're going and occasionally glance back at where you've been.
Yeah, it's good advice.
Yeah, and that has really stuck with me.
Well, then there's a lot of people that um, their judgment value based system, it brings them a negative result before they understand what they're looking at. They hear a certain term or a certain word, and it's already at up. Nope. I'm using the pot as an example because I know from physical experience that if you give me one day, on the second day, you will admit that you were wrong. You know what I mean, right? Because
Me? Wrong? I'm not wrong.
experience, well,
I'm
with a
left.
uh, well, there you go. But I mean, a negative opinion towards pot is an indoctrinated state of being. You're not born into that. You don't. You learn that shit. You're copying the words of another person. Because if you've ever smoked pot recreationally, you'd never say those words out loud because they'd never enter your fucking mind. Just
See,
making that clear so that there's no discrepancy. You know.
you know, the times that I smoke, partake, however
Mhm.
you wish to put that, I try to do that closer to bedtime because it usually just knocks my ass out. And
Right.
that's just the way it works with my physiology. It just I become very mellow and I'm ready
Mhm.
for a nap. Unless there's Doritos close by, and then there will not be Doritos for long, and then I'm still ready for a nap.
Well,
So that's
you
pretty
could
much what it does
also,
for me.
but you could also make a tea. You could also make food out of it, and each way that you ingest it brings a different. You'll get a different response physically from it.
Ah, well, and see, I have had pot brownies before.
Right. Yeah, and you had a different response to that than you did from smoking.
Yes.
When you, yeah, see, that's the point is people are kept ignorant on the, oh, I don't want my lungs to turn black. And well, then don't. Okay, here. Or all these things that you buy. I can make a pipe out of a potato with a screwdriver or an apple or whatever. I guess a
Yeah,
carrot would work pretty good too if I cut off some. Yeah.
I have actually seen that done.
Okay, but I'm saying is pot is the most. It enhances your brain to start using the tools around you and not waste all your energy on this metal and plastic life that we got.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know I sleep really well.
Well, you went back, yeah, you went back to the country in a very extreme fashion. I mean, me and Cirque are city folk and all that, and we're in the country ish, but not like you are. I mean, you really went to the country.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Hans Dietrich, if you don't know from experience what you're talking about, it is probably a good thing to just think it quietly in the confines of your vodka bottle because you're really just everybody disagrees with you, but that's the problem. You're the stick in the shit that people can't reach to get it out, and you're
Um,
not going anywhere. But have your fun.
well, and talking about chemical mind control, what about all the fluoridated water? What about all the chlorinated water? What about all of the bullshit that's in your processed food? All of those preservatives and additives and artificial flavoring and artificial coloring.
Right.
That's
What
not chemical
chemical is?
mind control?
Yeah. What chemical is in cannabis? What are you stupid? Man, you talk all
Well,
this read a book stuff.
actually, everything is made up of different chemicals. It's different chemical compounds.
Yeah, but
And it has
not.
THC in it.
It's
So
got no
yeah,
additives from us. It's a
true,
natural.
true.
It's not something we made. It's
Mm,
something that was already here. And it was put here for us to use for all the things it does. And everybody like you that doesn't understand that says all this stupid nonsense to scare people into believing what you believe. It's a bunch of crap. Grow up.
Well,
But
and
that's your opinion. It's a sad state. You can't teach him anything.
well,
He's going to be right. Mary, he's got to be right, just like I do.
I
Only I am.
and I'm left. But it's okay. I'm born and raised a lefty, so hey, there you go. Um, I just, uh,
Wow. What a hardcore statist. That's sad. That's
well,
just right out of a it's right out of a book. It's like a pamphlet for don't let this happen to you. Wow. What's wrong with people being free to do what they want with their own business? What I do is none of your business. Even if I talk about it, it's my version of something. So for you to be willing to lock me in a cell because I disagree with a philosophy is pretty insane. Because me and you'll never be in the same room together. So where the hell do you get the idea that you have a right to control my freedom? This is the whole core of this from the beginning of the conversation. Who the fuck Bill of Right me? I don't want no part of it. Fuck you and your Bill of Rights and your people telling me what I can put in my body. It's none of your fucking business. There you go.
well, yeah. So long as you're not hurting someone else.
You know me. I mean, how rude and crude have I ever been to you outside of a word or two on the internet? And I would never say anything behind your back. I won't say to your face, and I've done it. We've known each other quite a while, and this is it. I mean, it doesn't change. So, no, you know, you're not Atrax.
Oh,
You
let's
don't have
don't.
now. If you had the charm of Atrax, then maybe we wouldn't get along so well.
Oh, everybody has their little.
Thorn in their ass. Yeah, I know.
Well, I don't know that I would say that, but I mean, well, it's just like with this whole THC and all that other fun stuff. It affects people differently, just like everything affects people differently. Aspirin affects me weirdly. Tylenol, good lord, I take one extra strength Tylenol, you're peeling my ass off the ceiling. It affects me differently. So I think that's just part of people. Different things affect people differently. Whether it's visual stimulation or actual tangible physical stimulation, everything affects people differently. Some people are ticklish when you do your fingers on the bottom of their feet. Some people are not.
Yeah.
That's called part of being individuals. But yes, the brain, to get back to this chat over here, the brain does have THC receptors, and the brain does produce a lot of the chemicals that people say are
Okay.
psychotropic chemicals. It's just that there is a difference between synthetics and natural. There is a
Right.
definite difference.
Okay. And Hans, I agree with all that, Mary, but I wanted to answer Mr. Dietrich here. He's got great points. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I was a follower of an indoctrinated society like you are, I would probably share your opinions of me all across the board and swear up and down it was my personal experience and I know these things as facts. And I would jump on that bandwagon, so I could be with somebody that understood me. But I'm not. So, not being on that bandwagon, I would say this. Um, I don't agree with you, but I don't think I have the right to make you be silent. I'm just giving you your own shit back. I'm not telling you not to say these insane things you say because otherwise I'd have nothing to laugh about and, I would be bored and I would cry. So continue. Please feel free to continue to enlighten me on how I see the world wrong and that my way is just some sick mess and that what I'm looking at is success and this is the goal of your kind to put people in cells for smoking a grass. But what you do is you blame all the other stuff on it. Oh, they stole and oh they did. Yeah, sure they
Oh,
did.
see, okay. Thank you, Moosey, for putting that in there. Yes, it wasn't the pot smoking that made them murderers. It was the other shit that they were doing. But
Yeah.
then it's a
Yeah.
gateway drug.
Yeah.
It's a
No.
gateway drug. It leads you to do this other stuff that leads you to do. And yes, Sullivan or DMT, thank you very much for putting that in there. That was what I couldn't brain fart in here. I could not bring that out to where it would fall out of my mouth. So,
Oh, I'd like to take this opportunity to invite the opposition to the show to share their twisted points of view. You don't have to be agreed with to sit at this table and talk about what you believe. And, it's all subjective. You believe what you believe, and I believe what I believe. It's this fucked up shared belief system that's destroying everybody. And if you think you're immune to it, you're not. I don't think I'm immune to it. I just think I'm aware it exists, and I'm trying to let other people know, and they don't want to know. They like that game, and they're going to play that fucking game one way or another.
okay, Hans says that this is not cause and effect. I'm just saying the fact that they were stoned did not stop them from committing murder. And okay, they weren't just
Yeah,
doing
right.
pot. They were doing all kinds of
yeah.
shit.
Blame
And
it
they
on
were
pot.
already predisposed.
Yeah.
People will not. That's the weird thing that a lot of people just don't seem to understand. And once again, my opinion, but I don't think anybody, it's just like with hypnosis. You cannot convince someone to do something, whether they are stoned or drunk or hypnotized. You cannot convince them to do something that they are not already predisposed to do. You just can't. So,
It's all subjective, Mary.
yeah.
That's the whole idea. I'm trying to keep a positive mental outlook on my life when I encounter my fellow people, and it's just in my own best interest to keep politics and America and all that horse shit. Don't even use any of that. It's a nail in a coffin here.
Yeah, it
Have a
is.
nice day, and how much does that cost? Is all they need to hear.
Yep. And you
Does
know
it
what?
get any sweeter?
No, we are just about out of time, dude.
That's cool. Hey, Hans, I welcome you to the show anytime. Call us. We'll be here, bro.
Yeah. Although next weekend I will not. I will
That's
be
right.
with my grandbabies.
Yeah.
I won't
Well,
be
I'm
on
gonna-
next
I'm
Friday
gonna
or
do it.
Saturday.
I'll kidnap somebody, but I'll do the show with somebody. I'll get
Cool.
help. I'll volunteer one of our great dorks.
Yay! I'm sure there's lots of
it-
great dorks out there.
It was nice to banter and interrupt with you today. I had fun.
That was fun.
Well, sometimes I get stuck on an idea, man. And I told you this show is going to be, hey, you might be saying the most important thing you ever said in your life. And I'm going to go, hey, Mary, what time is it? Well, you can't look at your own computer all of a sudden. But, well, it's possible. I mean, I don't know if I did it or not. I wasn't trying to.
Ah,
Yeah, see, Grimner, how many people were killed by the government? I mean, just that thought in itself. But the whole Manson thing, we'll do a show on it. The Manson thing was a fraud too.
oh, my brother Joey is saying something about there's no such thing as brainwashing. Seriously? Yeah. Well, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
there
I
is.
do. I do get that. I do get that. Yes.
Uh,
I stand corrected, or sit corrected, I should say. In any case, as the case
Later,
may
babies.
be, yes, we are out of time. So thanks everybody for listening into the Dork Table as we kind of rambled all over the place today. I will not be back next weekend, but Flash says he's going to be back
No,
with another
I'm
dork.
good.
So hopefully y'all can enjoy that. I will be back on the radio Wednesday evening at my normal batty, crazy rocket chair woman time. But until then, have an absolutely awesome rest of your